You know how long I've been waiting for this? Woo, I'm about to make a name for myself here.
I don't think you guys walk away from this.
You just make sure people know what happened here today. And when you get out of here, you have...
Oh, hello. How's everybody doing today? Welcome back, true believers. It's another episode of Comic Conversations. Today we have a good friend of mine. I just really got to know him, I guess, a couple of months ago. But he's a pretty cool dude. He's a big, gigantic Kiss fan, and he's a horror film aficionado, if you will. Let's please welcome Comiverse, my friend Tony.
Hey.
Tony, welcome. I love that rock and roll over poster behind it. It's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, I kind of like Kiss.
They're pretty good. I loved them as a kid, especially like they were like a comic book come to life.
Oh yeah, definitely. I started listening to their music when I was 5 years old.
Same. I remember my mom bought me I don't know if it was on Spy, but I was real little. I wasn't that old. I was born in '76, so when it came out like 1983, she bought me Michael Jackson's Thriller.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'll never forget that. And like I remember my stepbrothers when they went away to college. I could have been more than 8 years old. I remember going in there and seeing like Frampton Comes Alive and Kiss Alive 2, Kiss Alive, Destroyer, which I thought was the coolest album cover, Love Gun,
Yeah.
Cat Scratch Fever by Ted Nugent, Queen, A Night at the Opera, A Day at the Races, and the one I always thought the one with Queen, News of the World, where the robot's holding them in his hand, and there's blood. I was like, well, that was kind of a scary cover to me when I was a kid. And they had like Aladdin Zane by David Bowie, the one where Bowie's got the paint on, it's got the lightning bolt going down his face.
Oh yeah, yeah.
All those cool imagery. Tommy by the Who and Who's Next by Who.
Yeah.
Oh man, I gotta holler at my mom real quick.
All right.
All right. I had a technological meltdown here for a minute. My computer's about dead, and I got to plug the thing back in. All right. Anyway, so I guess we'll start out. Well, I always do. I start out with this. We'll just say, what is your origin story of collecting? Did you get bit by a radioactive spider and get the powers of a spider, or get the comic book bug, or what happened?
Well, for me, growing up in the 80s, I was born in the 70s and raised in the 80s. It was all cartoons, Transformers, G.I. Joe, Voltron, all that stuff, Spidey and His Amazing Friends. Now, before 87, I picked up a couple of books. I got the Spidey and His Amazing Friends when it came out in 81. I was 8 years old. And I got Transformers 14, and I even mailed the little Kool-Aid coupons off and got one of the Kool-Aid Man comics. But I really wasn't collecting then. But back in 87, I was living in Lepanto with my mom and my dad. They were divorced, and he'd come get us during the summer, and we were staying in Caraway, and we went grocery shopping with my aunt, and I was looking at the comics because the guy just got done, putting all the new books out, and I started flipping through them, and the first book that caught my eye was Captain America 333, which would become known later now as John Walker Becoming Cap. So I picked that up. I picked up ASM 292. Yeah. And I just went from there, man. I really hadn't looked back. I was always an avid reader before then. I mean, I read Bram Stoker's Dracula when I was 9 years old. So, I mean, but yeah, I gravitated. I learned a lot.
I remember going to the library, and they had these. Do you remember the old? I don't know if your library had them, but I remember our library used to have these old. They weren't very thick books. They were like real thin. And they were like, it would be like the Universal monsters. Like they'd have like Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, Frankenstein's monster, Dracula. And I remember reading, also they had a illustrated version of Bram Stoker's Dracula. And I used to check it out and read it all the time.
Oh, yeah.
I remember that. Yeah.
I was going to say, what you just said, those books, I remember those. And I love the old Choose Your Own Adventure books. I had a crap ton of those.
Yeah, I like those things. It's like it was kind of like just part of the pop culture back then. Those books, like the Choose Your Own Adventure, like you go down the cave or you go this way or whatever. And I like that stuff. So yeah, I was like you though. I was born in the '70s, and I mean, my dad would bring comics home to me. So when he was in the National Guard, and hey, Kenneth, how you doing? I don't know what I was going to say. I'm kind of at a loss for words today. Been losing my voice. So when did you get like the collecting? Like, okay, I'm gonna start, because when I was a kid, we didn't really know what bags and boards were. We didn't have comic shops. No. I'm from the town in Kentucky. You know, we just threw them in the corner and would read them to death. But when did you decide, like, I'm gonna start collecting this stuff? Like,
well, in '87, June of '87, like I said, when I got those books, I just started buying them every week when I got my allowance, and then I started putting them in a box. And like you said, I didn't learn about bags and boards till about 2 years in. And I was just picking up stuff I like: Spider-Man, Transformers, G.I. Joe. God, I wish I had the G.I. Joe collection then that I had. You know, I wish I still had them. And then it wasn't until like Inferno that I started reading X-Men, because that was my, you know, I bought the first appearance of Mr. Sinister, but at the time I decided not to collect it. And then I jumped back in when Inferno hit and got into X-Men. So, I mean, but I mostly read like Avenger stuff, Cap, Iron Man. I didn't miss an issue of Cap. Cap was my guy. And then Spider-Man, when I started collecting Spider-Man, it was ASM 292. She accepted the wedding proposal. Oh yeah. Then it was the wedding, the honeymoon, and then Craven's Last Hunt, and then the McFarlane run. So I mean,
yeah, I'm working on that right now. I picked up a couple more issues, but now I'm down to like mainly the most expensive ones, like 316, 298, 299, and 300. Because I'm dreading trying to find that one, but I have to save up for it.
I was going to say, I have 300 in reprints that came out a few weeks ago or months ago or years ago, whatever. But I've got a chromium copy that I got graded. I got it put up, but it came out in '98 and it's limited to 3,500. But it was a chromium of ASM 300. But I got to get it because, I mean, back in the day in the late '90s, I was stupid enough to sell my 298, 299, and 300. But I mean, it is what it is. I needed money.
It happens. I had like a Planet Comics #1, that Dave Stevens cover of the two girls on the rocket.
Oh yeah,
like a $200 book. I sold it for like $150. I had 2 copies of Heavy Metal #1. Sold them. Just, you know how it gets. I always think of it this way though. The thing about collecting, when you let something go, usually it comes back to you eventually, or you'll end up with it again. I've had that happen before too.
Oh yeah, yeah.
He sold it like a dork.
Original
McFarlane's, yeah.
And see, the funny thing was about that chromium issue. I bought it. Okay, it came out in '98. I bought it in 2008. I just wanted a reprint, and I bought it off of eBay for $10 raw. And I went, okay, it's kind of cool. I'm not much of a chromium guy, but I like it. And then when I got it pressed, and then I seen an article one day, it said, the 10 comics that you might have that you don't know is expensive, and that was #1. And I went, wait, hold on. But
well, that's pretty good though when you find that out. Like I've done that before, like get a double take and go, wait a minute, is that right? Like I got like a Mark Spears book like that off the rack. I said, I'll get it. Looks cool. Yep. And I said, I need that one anyway. And then I got it for $5.99. The guy still had them on the cover price on the rack. And I got it home. I said, this book's worth $200. So it immediately went on. I'd like to say I kept it, but it immediately went on eBay.
Yeah.
And you only pay like $5 for it, you know.
I was going to say, in Psychotronic Squirt Gun, Aaron's right. There was a chromium Spider-Man 1 that came out too.
Oh, cool.
I didn't have that one though. But yeah, like I said, honestly, one of the things I'm most proud of is being a Transformers guy. I started in '87, and then in 2007, I completed my run of G1 Transformers for Marvel. I've got anything with Transformers as the main logo from Marvel. I have it. I got to get to 4 issues of G.I. Joe that ushered in Generation 2, and that's it.
Oh yeah, I'm working on it right now. G.I. Joe. I like what you talk about G.I. Joe. I don't know how you felt about G.I. Joe. If you talk about it now, I'm going to have to talk about it. So,
yeah. Oh, dude, some of the I started reading it around right when they did the Storm Shadow Snake Eyes 2-parter.
Yeah.
And I read that thing all the way up to issue 100 when Cobra Commander came back and threw everybody in that damn bunker and sent it down a lava thing.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
he came back with the armor on and stuff.
Oh yeah, he was not playing. I mean,
well, he was more evil in the comic because they kind of made him feel like a bumbling fool in the cartoon a little bit.
Exactly. I always preferred the comic book Cobra Commander because not only that, but I think he had the best origin story. I mean, think about it. He went after everybody just to get the Snake Eyes. I mean,
I have a similar story about that though. I didn't sell it though. I passed on it. I passed on Ultimate Fallout 4. I saw it at a shop. And I said, "Well, I don't like that because Peter Parker is the only Spider-Man for me." And little did I know,
it's funny that
Miles Morales kid something else now.
Oh man, oh dude, when Miles come out, I wasn't really. I took spurts between 2002 to 2015 where sometimes I was buying, sometimes I wouldn't. And I remember walking to a comic shop that week that the Miles Morales issue come out. Dude, they had like 5 to 10 issues on the rack, and they're like, "Hey Tony, you might want to get into this." And I was like, "Man, that dude's gonna be a flash in the pan. This book will be a $1 bin book." And little did I know that. So that tells you, kids, don't listen to me. So
that's the truth. If you find out there's going to be especially like a Spider-Man character, or like a Batman, like something, usually you better, at least if it's only like $4 or something, you better get it just in case.
Yeah.
There's a lot of others like that too. But you never know what's going to take off. Like, remember Strange Academy? That book just blew up, and it's got it's got Scotty Young, but I didn't know it was going to do that. I don't think anybody knew it was going to do that.
I didn't.
But or like, you never know who's going to be the next hot artist. Like, it's almost like Mark Spears came out of left field.
Yeah.
To me, he did. I wasn't familiar with him at all.
Yeah.
Until I saw the monster stuff. I know some people were familiar with the cards, but I didn't really know much about it until. Well, I'm glad I know about it now, thanks to people like Bruce here in the chat. Bruce Spears.
Yeah.
I used to joke with King of Nerds about that.
I was fortunate enough I wasn't able to get every early Spawn Spears cover, but I got a couple. Went, hey, this is pretty cool. I like this. I got the gunslinger with the clown on the cover, and I was like, well, he's pretty cool. And then like all the monsters books that I've got, which I don't have that many. I think I bought a couple issues of issue 5, but the rest of them I won. So I mean,
hey Phil. Yeah, you're right. You don't get the hype, but like there's just certain books you wish you'd got now because like I kind of like Miles Morales now. I kind of regret being kind of judgmental at the time about it. I guess I was got that old man syndrome sometimes. I still get like that, but I try to give everything a shot. Like, you have these guys that'll like review a movie they ain't seen.
Mm-hmm.
Or like, because they got an agenda against it. I don't like that kind of thing. If I don't like it, I'll tell you, but I'm not going to, that guy said it's no good. That must mean it's no good, because that's not really the case all the time. Because you got to make your own decisions and collect what you love.
Dude, if I was like that, I guarantee you there's games, albums, movies, stuff that I would not own if I listened to what everybody told me.
And everybody remember this, that Led Zeppelin 1, 2, 3, and 4 were all given bad reviews by Rolling Stone. That don't mean a dang thing.
Exactly.
Because they're all now they're all like, oh, it's one of the classics. It's one of the greatest. Same thing. They like to act like they were on board for Nirvana too, but they weren't. I remember when it come out. Oh no, this is like just punk rock, nothing. They'll be another indie band.
I remember in it's either 1973 or 1974, they did a review on Kiss, and they said that they hope that these four guys are saving their money for the future, the near future, because they weren't going to be around to make an impact.
Well, now they're almost like a Coca-Cola or Disney or something.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
basically market themselves now. I mean, that's what the one thing about Kiss was. A lot of I heard somebody say a lot of bands want to be like the Beatles or the Rolling Stones. Kiss wanted to be like Disney. I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean they wanted to be everywhere. They had all the propaganda.
I was going to say that's one thing I give Gene is he had a head for business, and sometimes he says stuff that just makes me want to shake my head, but I just go back and listen to the music.
Well, that's a situation where you got to kind of separate like the art from the person, because I mean, a lot of people are getting that situation with Neil Gaiman right now.
Yeah,
where it's like, I mean, I don't think it discounts anything he did with Sandman. I still think it's brilliant. I don't like some of the stories I've heard about him here lately, so that kind of turns me off.
I agree. I don't like the stories I'm hearing, but I mean, hell, dude, I loved his adaptation that he wrote for Alice Cooper's The Last Temptation. Yeah. I love that. I love the album. I mean, I listened to it for the last 5 days, and I love the comics. So I mean, plus he wrote the first 2 seasons of the Castlevania anime cartoon. So I mean,
he's made a lot of great that. I mean, it was a children's movie. I liked it, Coraline or whatever.
Yeah,
that was pretty brilliant. It's sometimes it's hard to that's why I had a problem like Tom Cruise like that. Just like I like some of his movies, but the whole Scientology thing kind of is off-putting a little bit.
Yeah, I just got to the point to where I just decided when it came to celebrities, okay, their personal life is their personal life. Unless they're going out killing people, that's their thing. Leave them alone, and I'm going to enjoy their stuff. And
that's a good point. I think we should all try to. I don't know, especially online now. A lot of people have agendas against certain comic books or movies. They don't want to like anything that comes out of Disney, or you have one group that don't want anything good to come out of like Warner Brothers.
Yeah,
or from Marvel Comics, and it gets kind of tiring after that.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you. I haven't been a big fan of anything from the MCU since Spider-Man: No Way Home and the last Avengers movie. I did like Guardians Volume 3, but there were some things about like some of the other movies that I kind of liked it, but not a lot, But still, I mean, I'm going to watch Brave. I still haven't watched Brave New World. I'm going to watch that. I'm going to watch Thunderbolts. I'm still going to give it a shot.
Yeah, I'm going to do the same thing with Ironheart too. I'll watch the first episode just to make up my own mind, But I was excited about the Daredevil series. I'll say that.
Oh my God, yeah.
That was pretty cool. It was like I don't know. It kind of reminded me of like straight up John Romita Jr. storyline.
Yeah.
Which I guess what it was supposed to do, or when he was drawing it, but it kind of reminded me like that, and they like a little mixture of Frank Miller, but more like I guess Romita, and then I can't remember who was writing it then. Was it Bendis or something? I can't remember.
Don't get me lying to you. I'm not sure.
I don't know either. But anyway, okay. We talked about Captain America, G.I. Joe. What are some of your other favorite characters? I assume Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. Your favorite characters that you collect?
Well, to this day now, believe it or not, when I started in the 80s, I was a big Marvel guy. I just collected DC. As far as DC, I collected Batman, Superman, and Firestorm. Love Firestorm. I've always been a big Firestorm fan. Matter of fact, I'm trying to go through and collect the Volume 2 run. I was a big fan of the Danny Ketch Ghost Rider. I'm still working on that run. I need like issue 53 to 93. I got to meet Howard Mackey in 2014 and 2018 at Comic Conway, and we sat down and talked about Ghost Rider. We talked about the Clone Saga. I learned a lot of stuff about the Clone Saga that kind of made me respect the man a little bit more. I also got, the first time I met him, I got my Ghost Rider #1 signed by him and Javier Saltares, the artist for that issue. That was pretty cool. But he told me stuff about the Clone Saga because he wanted me to give my opinion on it, and I said, well, I just feel like it went longer than it should have. I said it started out strong and then it just lost its fizzle. And he started telling me stories about how they had a beginning, a middle, and the end. And Marvel's like, hey, this is pretty good. Can you stretch this out for the next 2 years? And they're like, and they're the ones signing the checks. So I was like, yeah, I understand. I mean, they're the boss.
Well, they did the same thing to what's his name? I can't think of his name all of a sudden. He just wrote Spider Boy, the one they're canceling there or ending.
You talking about Dan Slott?
Yeah, Dan Slott. He told me, or not me, he didn't tell me. I was watching, I don't know why I said that. I was watching him on Kevin Smith's podcast, Fat Man Beyond.
Yeah.
And he was saying, like, he had all these ideas. He's like, I want to use this bad guy. Nope, you can't use Green Goblin.
Mm-hmm.
Nope, you can't do that. You can't have him and Mary Jane together. You can't. Yeah. He had to use all the C squad, basically.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they didn't really give him much to work with because they were using all these other characters on different books.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people, sometimes the writer, and I think they do it on purpose, I think the writer takes a lot of the heat when they don't really know that internally it's the editor-in-chief or the powers that be calling the shots behind them saying, you can't do this, you can't do that. It's not as free as it used to be. Like, how like Stan Lee would just give a script to Kirby and go, or tell him loosely what was going to happen and go, here, do what you want.
Yeah. I remember reading Wizard magazine right when McFarlane took over ASM, and he said that they told him that he couldn't resurrect Uncle Ben, Gwen Stacy, or Norman Osborn, the Green Goblin, because at that point in time, the Green Goblin was still dead. He had died. He had died in 1973. Matter of fact, he died the month and year I was born. But so when he always gave him a little credit of ingenuity. That when he did 312, which was the Green Goblin versus Hobgoblin story, you had the second Hobgoblin. At the time, it was referred to as the second Hobgoblin.
Yeah.
Masondale versus Harry Osborn, the second Green Goblin. And I was like, well, that's pretty cool. And at that time, Harry didn't even want to be the Goblin. He just put on the costume to protect his family.
Yeah.
I always thought that was pretty cool.
Well, I like how he did a workaround there. He made sure it was like, it's the Green Goblin, but it's not the Green Goblin.
Yeah.
And, and like, and Todd was the one that was instrumental in getting that blue and red uniform back on, or costume back on him.
Oh, yeah.
And they didn't want to do it. Especially, they were like, no, that's our baby. They didn't want to get rid of that. But like, because it was one of the guys' baby that thought of it up. Well, actually, he didn't take it up. He bought it from a fan.
Yeah.
But I bet he wishes he got paid more for it, though. It was a great idea.
Yeah.
But I think what he did, turning into Venom, and now Venom's like one of the most fan favorite character, even though what they've done with him here lately, I guess her now.
Yeah.
I don't know how long that's going to last, though, but kind of weird.
I haven't read any of it. I'm waiting for it to pop up on my Marvel Unlimited app because I've got a subscription for that. I'll probably read them all online.
I'm thinking about just doing that from now on because I buy too many books.
but as far as like I said, back in the old days, it was mostly Marvel, a little bit of DC. Image, I was there for the launch, dude. I bought Youngblood, Gen 13, Wildcat, Spawn, you name it. Even Savage Dragon. I was all in on that, and then I got bored with it. But now when I buy stuff now, my big go-tos is Something That's Killing the Children. I love that. Conan, I love the Titan Comics Conan run. I think it reminds me of like the old Barry Windsor Smith stuff they did in the 70s with Marvel. All the Energon stuff, all the Spawn stuff, and basically that's it. I mean, yeah, dude, I haven't read it. I'm about 3 months behind on my reading, but
I am too. I don't even know where like all the stuff I want to read is at.
I got I was gonna say I got like 2 or 3 bags of books. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna read these one of these days.
I brought all these books in from the con too, piling with all the new books because I'll stack my new books on top of the boxes. So I'm reminded to read them, and then it got so out of hand I had to put them in the a short box just to get them out of the way so I could put these other comics down.
Yeah.
And now I desperately need another box now after that con. And it's like the struggle's real though, Tony. You know how it is.
Oh yeah.
You just keep. My mom's like, you get it. He's taking them out more than you bringing them in, because I do sell and whatnot. And I'm going to have a sale soon, Mom. So don't worry about that. But because I do have stuff I'm trying to sell. But I have my babies though, like G.I. Joe, Captain America, Uncanny X-Men. I'm not trying to go after all of Spider-Man because I think I would be crazy to try.
I'm just buying what I can.
Yeah, I just get I'm trying to focus on Todd McFarlane.
Yeah.
Stuff. Anything that's Todd McFarlane, like his own DC stuff.
Yeah.
I just collect it because he was the guy that as soon as I started, oh, this is the guy that did this. I didn't know until Spawn came out because I didn't really pay attention to artists a lot.
Yeah.
Or this is the guy that was doing Spider-Man. This is why it was so cool because the art is what pulled me into it. I don't know about that's another question I have for you. What pulls you in more? Is it both the writing and the art, or what grabs you first? Is it the art or the writing?
Since I've always wanted to be a writer, I've tried to do that. I mean, I don't think the writing is going to grab you right away unless it's something you've already well know.
That's true.
The art, usually the art will grab you, and then a good story. Because I mean, I'm one of those type of people. You can have great art and a crappy story, or it could be or it could be vice versa. You could have freaking Van Gogh painting the dang comic, and looks like a kindergartner wrote the story. So I mean,
that's what I felt about that Vatican City that came out. I thought that the story was interesting, and Mark Miller is probably one of my favorite writers. But I just felt like the art just didn't cut it. I couldn't read it no more, so I quit buying it. It was only 3 issues anyway. But now a guy like James Tynion, so I heard you talk about Something's Killing the Children.
Oh,
that dude could write like the back of a shampoo bottle and sound cool.
I started with Something's Killing Children. Of course, I mitigated the House of Slaughter and Nice House on the Lake, but I actually went back and read Wind, and that's something that I didn't think I'd be into, but I read the first 10 issues of Wind. I bought the trades for my daughter; she loved them. So I mean, you'd be surprised that give something a chance. Case in point, when Do a Powerbomb come out, I didn't buy a single issue. Not a one. I heard everybody talk about it. Deviates still to this day. And it just so happens I'd won a giveaway from Brian LCS, and it had the trade for Do a Powerbomb and Murder Falcon. So I read Murder Falcon, which was really cool. And then I read Do a Powerbomb. When I read that graphic novel, I went out and tracked down every of the single issues. And that's rare for me to actually do. If I got in trade, normally I just don't go look for them. But that one, yes, I wanted every of the single issues.
You want to talk about that? You're talking right up my alley now, because as soon as he was on my radar, and I didn't really get back into it till a few years ago. But like the Transformers stuff, and then I was like, I wanted to go and find everything he had ever done.
Oh yeah,
just because the art, and I told him, I said, dude, when I met him, I was like, your art is it reminds me of when I was a kid in the 80s and 90s. He goes, well, that was my intent. That's what he said to me.
That's
so
cool.
It kind of answered a question for me, I always kept thinking that. I said, this guy grew up when I did. There's just no way. And, I Powerbomb too. Very good story.
Yeah, I was gonna say I was gonna get The Moon Is Following Us, but I'm gonna wait and get that on trade. And I'll probably end up doing like I did with Do a Powerbomb. I'll probably end up going buying the single issues anyway. And I mean,
it's great. Look, I was sad it just ended, and I told him when I met him I was sad that it ended. I said I wanted it to continue. I know it was just a one-off story, but it's a very emotional story. I got kind of teary-eyed. It's about the family protecting their child.
Okay.
And there's a lot of tragedy in it, and it's just it's actually about two people. Like this other guy, it's like I don't want to spoil it for you though. I won't say nothing else.
Well, I was going to say, I was going to say, when you've been on Show Us What You Got and everybody's showing the latest issues of The Moon Is Falling, and it's touching everybody's heart. But me being me, I'm the guy sitting in the corner wanting to go, so did y'all find out why the moon is following them? Just a little joke.
I know. It's not really following them. It's just it's like the best way I can explain it without blowing the whole plot for you is, or the whole story is this couple's daughter gets put in a deep sleep like a coma and she can't wake up, and the doctors don't know what to do, and they discover this guy that like has these like helmet like technology. They can go into her dreams.
Oh yeah,
and they have to get her out of her dreams.
Huh.
And it's really interesting. It's kind of like almost kind of like Ready Player One a little bit.
Okay.
And like I said, like a different reality. Like they have to come back every so often, or they could die in the dream.
Oh wow.
And, but that's as far as I can tell you about like ruin it. And Murder Falcon, I got one of those the other day. It's like a homage cover to Shout at the Devil.
Oh yeah, dude. I wish I could have gotten some of those homage album covers, man.
Well, I'll if you give me your address when I can mail it out, I'll send it to you if you want it.
Oh, cool, dude. Thanks.
I'm going to get I'm trying to get the trades right now. Like I'm trying to collect all those like Space Mullet and Murder Falcon and all the like hardcover editions. You know, I'm trying to get all that.
Yeah, and it's funny because when Transformers #1 come out, it was the last. Well, I was gonna say, dude, I looked at my list because I got all my comics on my CLZ app, and I was like, damn, I've got 12 or 13 different covers for issue #1. And I was like, damn. But I told my wife about it. I said, I don't think anything is probably going to catch my imagination to where I feel like I got to have that many copies of a different cover for issue #1. And then lo and behold, coming in July, matter of fact, it comes out like the day before my birthday, new Speed Racer comic. And I'm looking at all the covers going, I want that one, that one, that one, that one, that one. I ordered all 9 covers. And I was like, because for me, that was my first cartoon I watched when I was a kid was Speed Racer. It's always been Speed Racer, man. I freaking, between Transformers and Speed Racer, those were my two biggest loves. And I was like, oh, they're doing Speed Racer. Because I read some of the Speed Racer comics in the 90s when Now was doing them. And they were really good.
I love that. Like when I see something like that, like you know, they Space Ghosts or Herculoids, and you're like, they just kind of. I think they know what they're doing. They're appealing to people our age.
It's nostalgia.
Yeah, and I heard they're going to do a Thundar the Barbarian out.
I was gonna say I heard about Thundar. Have they done Visionaries yet?
No, I don't think so. I don't know for sure.
I've heard rumors about Visionaries and Backermice Remorse.
I know that's coming out. I don't know when it's coming out though. But like I get excited for crazy stuff like that, or like you'll do that with copies of certain things. Like I saw that they're doing I think Dynamite is collabing with DC, and they're doing an Elvira and Harley Quinn, and Mark Spears has got a cover coming out.
That would be pretty cool.
Yeah, and I got there's like I think Lisner was doing a cover, so I was like, yeah, I got to get both of those. And like I do that sometimes. I'm bad for like. I'll go into my comic shop and I'll type in like Adam Hughes and just see what variants he's got coming out in the next month.
Oh, dude, my comic shop is like my go-to place to order online.
Oh, me too, because it's 35% off if you pre-order.
That's where I got my Kiss. One of my Kiss comics was from my comic shop.
Oh, cool. Do you have the one where it's they had their blood in the ink?
Yep, that's one of the ones I'm going to show off.
Okay. Well, if you want to show some of them, we can take a break. Just like I was going to ask you, because I was going to start doing this anyway. It's funny you mentioned bringing like some books on. I was going to start doing that. Like if you show me like 5 or 6 or 7 books that like sum up your collecting taste or whatever. Yeah, I'll put you on this side of the screen there.
I got 7 books that I picked. This doesn't sum up my collecting taste, but these are 7 books or 8 books that I honestly, there's books you always want, and then you're like, wow, you just sit there and stare at it going, I can't believe I've got this.
Yeah.
And you're like, I mean, it just blows me away. Now, the first one I'm going to pick, it kisses down the line a little bit. Being a Transformers fan, I got this from C3 in 2023, man. I went big in 2023 during the C3 auction. And it's not a Marvel issue of Transformers. This was from 2019. It's a Transformers #1, a Virgin Metal exclusive, number 125 of 200, and it's autographed by Frank Welker and Peter Cullen.
Oh, cool.
This was like the first big purchase of C3 2023 that I bought. And I was actually I'd said something when Rob was on one of the shows, and I'd said something about getting it graded. And he told me not to do it because there's a sticker inside that validates the signatures and everything.
Yeah.
You can't take the sticker off because with the sticker on there, it's guaranteed the most you're going to get is a 9.4 or a 9.6. If you take the sticker off, then it's incomplete. So I just figured I'd just leave it raw. So I mean, but man,
well, just we can put it in a nice top loader, one of those.
Yeah. I gotta do something. I gotta do something because this bag is starting to split.
Well, I'm gonna start getting those comic capsules. You know what I'm talking about? Like
oh yeah, I need to get some of those. It's got the Fan Expo. But yeah, I mean, I always dreamed of meeting one or both of them, but I ain't got to meet them, but I got their autographs, so that was pretty cool.
That's a very nice cover. I like that.
So this next book is another one I never thought I'd have in my collection. I got it for Christmas. Well, technically, I got a gift certificate from the comic shop that was selling it for Christmas, and I'm still trying to figure out their math because I'm going to show you the book and I'm going to tell you how the math works there.
Okay.
And but anyway, this is the first book my wife gave me permission to buy, and it's
oh,
X-Men 94.
Oh wow.
I got this thing raw. My buddy Greg, who cleans and presses comics, this was his copy. He sold it to a flea market, who sold it to a comic store that I bought it from the comic store, and he cleaned and pressed it. So they wanted $150 for the book raw. I had a $50 gift certificate. Now, if you do the math, so I took in a lot of money. That week's books was $30, so I'm looking at probably spending about $133 or $130, you know, in the new books. Well, he started going, I'm going to give you a discount for this, a discount for that. I like the shirt you're wearing. You're getting a discount for that. I walked out of there paying $80 for this book and my $30 of new books that week. And I went, hey, okay. But yeah, I mean, because when I got the book, I was sitting there thinking, it's cool. And then when the relevancy of the book hit me, and I'm like, look, man, this is like the second appearance of Storm and Colossus and Nightcrawler.
The fourth appearance of Wolverine, ain't it?
The Warpath, yeah, and it's like the third or fourth appearance of Wolverine, depending on what you count and what you don't count. And this book was the first book that relaunched the freaking X-Men in the Chris Claremont run. I mean, this is an iconic piece of history to have. And so, yeah, I mean, I'm glad between my buddy Greg and my wife pushing me to get this book, I was glad I finally gave in and listened to them because, and like I said, when we sent it in, I didn't know what grade I was going to get, but I didn't care. I was like, man, this is pretty cool. So now I just look at it going, wow, that's awesome. Now, the next three books I'm going to show are, well, there's going to be one in between that's not part of it. I had a thing I used to call that I need to change the name. I picked three books. I called them the three books I want to own before I die. I really did change that because I got all three of them. And like we talked about, I bought this from my comic shop, and I'm going to tell a horror story. I always tell the horror story because it's important that people know this. But it's I got it sent to CBCS and got a 5.0 of Marvel Super Special #1 featuring Kiss. And this is the first print in real Kiss blood. Get to see the man right there.
That's awesome.
I actually did a comic book spotlight on my YouTube channel about this one, which is pretty cool. It's intact. Now, if it'll show up, if you look real good in this corner, you're going to see that little spot right there.
Yeah.
All right, boys and girls, if you really got a cool comic and you're doing an unboxing video, make sure you do something with the Scotch tape and don't leave it. Man, you go back and watch the video. It's on my YouTube channel. One of the first videos I did, I'm showing off the book going, hey, let's take a look at it. Because I want to show everybody the poster inside.
Yeah.
And then I put the book down like this, and the tape got a hold of it. And I've tried to pull the tape off. And, of course, you see what happened.
I've done that with a couple of Avengers books.
But yeah, I mean, and this is a culmination ever since I started collecting comics. And then I found out there were Kiss comics. And then I found out about this one, and I was like, maybe one of these days before I die, I'll get to own it. So I wanted this book since I was like 13 years old. So I finally got it. Because Marvel Comics only has 5 books that they did with Kiss. They did this one. They did another one I'm going to show. They did 2 Howard the Ducks. And a lot of people don't realize it, or I didn't know it came out, but in the 90s, they did a comic called Kiss Nation where they met the X-Men, which was pretty cool. It came around.
Is that the Jim Ballot one? Was that the Ballot one right there?
What's that?
Katie was asking about that. Do you have the Jim Ballot one too?
I'm not sure, because the next one I'm going to show is this one. Because if I got one, I got to get the other one. Yeah. K-pop. I've seen some of the other stuff they've done with IDW and Dynamite stuff. I've got a couple of the ones with Vampirella. But yeah, if I'm gonna get that one, I'm gonna get this one.
Oh, and yeah.
When I showed this one off, I made sure there was not a stretch of tape anywhere. But yeah, I'd like to actually get, since there's only 5 Marvel Kiss books, I'd like to get them all graded. There's just the one in the 90s. It was a mixture of comic, and they had the reunion tour going on during 96, 97. So that was pretty cool. All right, so the next book I'm going to show, this is number 2 of the 3 books I wanted to own. And I got this one. This was picked up this year. I got ASM 121. When I started collecting, I knew nothing about Gwen Stacy. When I read Amazing Spider-Man Annual 21 and found out about Gwen Stacy, my cousin picked up a Marvel Tales book that had this one in 122 in one volume. And I was like, wow. And she ended up becoming one of my favorite characters, even though she had died. But yeah, I wanted to get this one. I mean, this was, I've been wanting this one for a long time. And then to go with that, the last one, which was what I call my birthday book, is 122.
Oh, yeah.
And because it was released on July 73. Of course, this was the quote unquote death of Green Goblin. And actually, to be honest, he stayed dead for what? Until the end of the Clone Saga?
Yeah.
So, I mean.
Well, yeah, the original one, yeah. Norman, yeah.
Yeah, he stayed dead for a long time, and his death actually was relevant for a long time. So, I mean, that was pretty cool. Now, I picked this up in March of a lot of cool books that I never thought I'd ever own. I don't even care about the grade, dude. I just never thought I'd own it. And I got this for pretty cheap from my buddy Greg. I got this.
Oh, yeah, the death of Captain Stacy.
No, dude, this is the first appearance of Kingpin.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, Kingpin. I don't know a lot.
yeah. He told me. My buddy Greg said, "Man, I'm gonna put this up for sale if you don't want it." I said, "I'm gonna give you first dibs," and he showed me a picture of it, and I went, "How much?" He told me, and I went, "Okay." I sent him the money. So I mean, sold. Yeah, it just so happens he popped this when I actually Butterball had closed down. I had my 401k money, so yeah, I bought that.
And you know, for a 1.5, the cover, as long as the cover looks good.
Oh yeah. I mean, I was happy at this point before I got a chance to get this. I was actually looking at trying to get 51. And I was like, if I can't get his first print, maybe I can at least get a second print or second appearance. I mean, so that was
the iconic cover too. Is that John Romita Sr., right?
Oh yeah. I would love to have the cover, and feel free anybody to correct me or let me know, the one where he's walking away with the costume in the basket.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one I was thinking of. The death of. Right, that's the death of Captain Stacy, I think.
Yeah, I've got that book too. Believe it or not, I actually got that book for pretty cheap. And the last book, I know Matt's gonna love this one. I picked this up from 2023 C3. It was the last thing I bought, and when I got it, I was like, oh man, I still like, I'm holding my hands going, wow, because I love Cap. I love Captain America. He's my boy. I've got to run a Captain America Volume 1 from issue 262 to the end of the volume. So I'm working backwards.
I am too. I got most of the 80s stuff in the 90s, but like I'm going back to the 70s now.
But I know I need the first Falcon as far as the real first print. I've got facsimiles, but I can at least mark this book off my list, and it was.
Oh, the start of its first series back since the Silver Age. I mean the Gold Age.
Yep. When they were showing off, when Robin was showing this off that they were going to put this in the auction, I was like, that is coming. I was even arrogant. I was telling people in the live shows, I said, that's coming home to Daddy. And yeah, it came home to Daddy. Now, but let's be honest. If Rob would have bidded like he said he wanted to, yeah, that would have went to California.
I just got this one like last month.
See, I love that cover. That's one of my favorite covers. But my absolute favorite, and I always get the issue number wrong. There's an episode issue of Tales of Suspense where he's holding the cosmic cube up like this, and
yeah,
see all this. And I don't know. I always love that cover.
Yeah, I'm getting there. I'm starting to dabble in the Tales of Suspense because a lot of the Captain America stories are in that too. And somebody brought it to my attention, I'd forgotten. I was like, dang it, now I got to collect that. I
actually thought about buying. I seen they had re-released Captain America Omnibus that had. I think I had like issues 100 to something. It had some annuals, but it had all the single Cap stories from every issue of Tales of Suspense.
Oh, cool. I thought about doing that with like the Invaders too. Like I've been getting into the Invaders.
Yeah, I've read a few. I read a few of the Invaders back in the day, and they were pretty cool. Anything with Blair Blood.
Yeah, I just recently picked this one up right at this con. Issue 1.
Oh, that's awesome, dude.
I had a lot of fun there. I spent a little bit too much money, but I saved up for it, so it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's like if I go up there, I'm like, what am I going to look for? Well, I'm going to get some autographs and hang out with some cool people, and we'll go from there. Because I loved how, like last year, Rob had a purpose. I say Rob because I think one day he went and got his signatures and commissions set up, and the next day he went hunting for books. And I love the way he had his whole thing set up. And
he's a very regimented person. From what I get a vibe, that's what the vibe I get from him. So
yeah,
I just went in there. I had a plan. 5 minutes in, the plan went out the window. I was like, "What plan?"
Yeah,
I was seeing Swamp Thing and stuff. I'm like, and then like this right here, I see like, well, my channel name, so I had to get that.
Oh yeah. I mean, when you see Heroes for Hire Club, if you don't automatically think of freaking Power Man and Iron Fist, I mean, damn.
Well, yeah. Well, it's kind of a take also on like I always wanted. My dream was to have a comic shop, and I wanted to call it Heroes for Hire because, like we're buying comic books, we're buying Heroes for Hire, kind of.
Yeah.
And I also love Power Man and Iron Fist too. But
I never, when I daydreamed about having a comic shop, I never had a name for it. But one thing I wanted to do, and I told Kim, I said it might be expensive, but I said I'd like to have that comic shop where I'd have like some kids comics or whatever, and like these kids that if some kids come in and I knew they couldn't afford any comics, I'd be like, here, man, just take this book off the rack. There you go. Yeah. Get them into reading, because
I thought about like doing that on Halloween and just having like a little box of comics out there for the kids. Like obviously I wouldn't be putting out Vampirella,
no,
or something by a Preacher or something like that, or Hellblazer. But
well, I was gonna say he's not in the chat, but I want to say, doesn't Mark do that? Mark from Legion of Comics? Don't he do that?
I think so. I thought I heard him say something about that.
I was gonna say I thought he did.
I'm gonna try that though. I thought it'd be kind of fun. Like I'm gonna still hand out candy because you can't not hand out candy to the children on Halloween.
And be like, here, kids, y'all can have some candy, but if you find a book in here you want, go ahead and take it.
Yeah, just take one. It's cool.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'll make sure there's no Frank Miller or Neil Gaiman or something there. It'd probably be too weird. Parents might come back and get me if it's a Vampirella comic or something.
Yeah.
But those aren't for kids anyway. I mean, it's just.
Oh no, but I knew who Vampirella was, and growing up, I didn't want to have to explain to my mom why I had those. So.
Well, hey, I've been doing this here lately. The last couple episodes, I ended with these 10-question questionnaire, and then we'll take some questions from the chat if you're up to it.
Hey, I'm game, man.
All right. You ever watch the show Inside the Actor Studio?
Oh yeah, I've been watching the last couple episodes you did
Okay.
where you asked the questions.
We did the questionnaire, and it was originally on the Ballon de Couture, hosted by Bernard Pivot in French series. It's better known as questions that James Lipton would ask on Inside the Actor Studio. So we'll start with the first one.
Okay.
What is your favorite word?
What is my favorite word? It would have to be awesome, because I say that a lot.
Me too.
Back in the 80s, it was either awesome or rad.
I still use both.
Yeah.
Some people look at me like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah. Somebody say something like, dude, that is radical. What?
Yeah, or that's gnarly, man. Remember that?
Yeah.
It's gnarly.
Yeah.
What is your least favorite word?
I'm gonna get a little. I don't know what the word I'm looking for here. Metaphysical, or whatever. Can't. I don't believe that you can't do something, and I wish I'd have had this idea, this thought process when I was a kid, because I probably would have actually accomplished some stuff. But I got to the point to where I always said the word "can" a lot growing up. I can't do this. I can't draw. I can't act. I can't do this. My uncle said, "Can't never could do nothing."
My dad says it all the time.
Yeah, and so now I'm like I didn't tell my. I always told my kids, I was like, you know what, you can do anything you set your mind to. And I was like, why don't I start doing that?
It's a good thing. You're like, one of my favorite quotes from Empire Strikes Back: "Do or do not. There is no try."
There is no try. Yeah.
All right. Well, what turns you on creatively, spiritually, or emotionally?
Huh. Well, comic books, as far as comic books goes, just a good story. But I don't know. It really didn't take much to excite me. Well, I don't know. Like, case in point with Speed Racer, all they had to do is mention Speed Racer, man. I freaking went, yeah. When's it coming out? So I guess nostalgia, things that seeing a resurgence of things that I loved when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Getting to talk about comics. I never got to do this when I was a kid. We didn't have the internet and everything, and there wasn't a lot of people that I associated with that did comics. So finally getting to come on YouTube and do this, it was cool.
Same here. What turns you off?
Rude people, rude behavior.
Yep.
And I don't remember what movie he said it in. I think he said it in Lonesome Dove. Tommy Lee Jones says, "I can't stand rude behavior. I won't tolerate it."
Yep. I remember that movie. I like that movie. It was a good miniseries.
Yeah.
What is your favorite curse word?
As much as I hate to say this, because I try to not cuss like I used to, but my wife hates it, and I say it a lot, and it's the F word.
Okay. Well, that's been a kind of the favorite here the last couple of episodes. What sound or noise do you love?
Sound or noise? I don't really know. Hell with it. I like a good explosion, fireworks and stuff.
All right. What kind of sound or noise do you hate?
Despair, crying. I hate to see people sad. I hate to see people sad.
Me too. I'm kind of an empath. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I don't like it either. It'll make me cry usually.
Yeah. Yeah.
What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
I would love to be a writer.
That's a good one. I always wanted to do that too, to be honest.
Whether it's novels or comics, I'd love to write my own comic.
Me too. What profession would you not like to do?
Porta potty cleaner.
Yeah, I don't think I'd want to do that. I don't think I'd want to do that either.
I think that would be a crap job, and I don't think I'd want it.
It's a shit job. And
Well, it's
finally,
like I was gonna say, like you said, like Ted Knight said in Caddyshack, well, the world needs ditch diggers too.
that's one of my favorite lines in the movie. Okay, the last question, and then we'll open up questions to chat if they have any. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Well, being a man of faith, I don't talk about it a lot because I believe that you should. I'm not one of those people that believes you need to go out and flaunt it. If you believe in it, people's going to see it through the actions you do. What I want to hear, the most important thing I want to hear is just simply, "Well done, my good and faithful servant." That's all I want to hear.
That's all. That's probably the best we can hope for.
Yeah.
Life is short, so.
Oh yeah, I've learned that over the last year and a half.
Yeah, I'd say so. Well, if there's anybody in the chat would like to ask, hey Dave, how you doing? I call Dave the international man of mystery. He's a globetrotter. I love this guy. He's so cool. I got to meet him at Heroes Con. Dave, good to meet you. We were in line together for Chris Claremont too.
Oh hell! See, I'd love to meet Chris Claremont. I'd love to meet him. I'd like to meet JR, Frank Miller. I'd love to meet all of them.
Yeah, one of these days, I'd like to meet Todd McFarlane and Frank. I got their signatures, but I bought them off the internet. One of them, and Austin LeMay gave me a Spawn #1 signed by Todd, and those two are probably actually the three I would most like to meet. And I really hope that I get to meet the other one before he passes away because he's not getting any younger. It's Jim Steranko.
Yeah, Steranko.
That, and I regret that I didn't really know who Dave Stevens was until, I knew of him, but I didn't know that he was dead. Then I found out he was dead. I'm like, man, I kind of bummed out. I'd like to have met him and George Perez when he died. I never got a chance to meet him.
I would have loved to have met George Perez because I liked what he did. I read a little bit of his work in Titans, but Crisis, dude. Crisis is
dude.
If there's a freaking storyline that epitomizes just how good George Perez is, it's freaking Crisis. That and the first few issues of Infinity Gauntlet that he did.
Yeah. And his work on the Avengers. Yeah. He did it in some of the 70s and 80s, but also in the 90s with Kurt Busiek.
Yeah.
People sleep on that series.
Yeah.
But it's really great. They bring back Ultron, and I actually want to get an Omni of that whole thing.
Yeah.
I have his autograph somewhere. I never got to meet him though.
It's like when a few years ago, I finally got a single set of Crisis. And I was like, man, this is so awesome. One of these days, if I ever meet George Perez, I'm going to get him to sign every one of them. And then he died. And I was like, damn it.
Hey, Brian.
I know Brian's got to have some questions for us.
All right. Anybody in the chat, do you have a question for Tony? Now's the time to do it. And while we're waiting on the first question, I will tell everybody what I got going on. On next week's episode of Comic Conversations, my guest will be Seabizzle.
Oh, cool.
He's part of the Council of Comics, so please come and check that out. And then Thursday at 12:30, I think it'll be 12:30 Eastern time, 12:30 p.m. Eastern time, not at midnight. Good Cinema presents Raiders of the Lost Ark, starring Harrison Ford. And then later that night, we have the Comic Lounge. And sometimes Tony's a guest on there when he's not busy. That'll be at 7 p.m. Eastern on Thursday night. And, of course, Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern is a Sunday Super Show Extravaganza, where we talk about the new Comic Book Day previews, trending spec books of the week, the new key issues of the week, and out-of-context panels of the week, and my picks for variant covers of the week. And then don't forget that the CVC Awards nominations are still going, I think, till August 7th. So nominate your favorite comic book YouTuber at cvcawards.org. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. All right, I got that one off there. Let's see if we got any questions now.
I see Brian got one. Brian, I'm going to do it tomorrow. That's on my list of things to do tomorrow.
You got any more questions? We got everybody saying hello to each other, and all right. Well, I'll give a few more minutes, but I just want to say I really appreciate you coming on, man.
Hey, no problem, man. I'm glad to be here. Anytime you want me to hang out.
I'm sorry I wasn't as high energy today. I'm still recovering from this.
Dude, watching your videos, I could tell you were having a great time, but I could also tell that you were tired.
Yeah. All right, here we go. Hey, Brian's got another question. Is Tony coming back to regular live stream?
Yes, soon. So here's the thing. I haven't really talked about it a lot, but I've made a few comments. For people that know me, they know that in June of 2024, I lost my brother. He passed away. And I was talking to my other brother, Jeremy, and them, and I said, look, if y'all pay attention to the amount of content that I put out before June, I was full balls out, comic spotlights every Friday, loft shows every Saturday. And I'm going to be honest with you, man. After my brother died, I lost my drive in everything. And it's been a really struggle. But I keep saying, you know, right when I was finally getting ready to get back into doing it, you know, now I'm working at Walmart. I'm trying to work my schedules because I'm planning on coming back and doing my live shows on Saturday, my end of the Comiverse. I'm hoping I'll have a new episode of the Spotlight out this Friday featuring Firestorm. But I'm dabbling with trying to do a second one. And I've talked to Brian about it. I've talked to Chris about it. I'm thinking about doing something. And yeah, it's probably in the vein of Only Slabs, but I want to do something like a Spider-Man book club where people can come on and show off their favorite Spider-Man stuff.
Yeah.
But it's just finding the time to do it. My days off are during the week on Wednesdays, usually Wednesdays and Thursdays. This week I have to work tomorrow. But I'm going to come back. And when I do, I'm sure I'll let everybody know, and because I want to get back into doing this. I loved hanging out with everybody. I miss it, and just hanging out. And when I first started doing my live shows, there were 40 minutes. Now I'm clocking an hour and a half, 2 hours, and it's just all of us hanging out. Hell, I miss talking to DVH and Matt. When I come back, I'll be sending you invitations too.
Hey,
anybody. I was going to say anybody's welcome, like on my Saturday shows. I mean, if K-pop wants to pop on, and anybody.
I'm down. Just let me know. And as you know, you're always invited on Good or Bad Cinema or the Hangout show anytime you want. Even the Sunday show, I do. Yeah. I always like to have guest hosts on there because there's a lot of I have to do a lot of talking.
Yeah.
It's good to have somebody pick up the slack. I don't care to go solo. But I'd rather have somebody doing it with me. That's why I got in here and do this stuff, was because the camaraderie there. And that's why I went to Heroes Con.
Oh, yeah.
I get along with these people, and I got to see like Brian LCS and Southern Comic Geek was there. Still 35 cents. And
I was going to say, I'd love to meet the Godfather. I just hope he'd love to meet me.
I got his, he hooked me up too. He gave me some, I got to say, he's got some of the best stickers I've seen. Look at this.
Yeah, I'm jealous. I didn't get any of those. I wasn't able to make it to Heroes Con, so But y'all go buy the Doctor. Go fund his Kickstarter.
Yeah. I just read one. He sent me a file.
Yeah,
and I really liked it.
Brian's he's doing a kick-ass job on that, and I'm just living vicariously through him. I've got an idea for a novel. I just got to get off my ass and write it.
Right here. That's what we need right there. Brian's right. We need to get Tony to Heroes Con.
Brother, it's like this. Someday. But I got to go to Utah first. I got to make sure that I take my wife and my daughter to Utah to go see my brand new baby granddaughter that was born in May. Because if I put anything before that, I'm going to have to find a new place to live if they don't bury me in the backyard. But, oh, thanks, Brian. He said he'd send me some. But yeah, my wife and them, they hear me talk about it, especially during the weekend of Heroes. I'm like, man, I want to go. It's the first comic convention I want to go to where hunting down comics is secondary. I want to go hang out with the guys and hang out and BS and, you know, have a couple drinks and, or if you don't, whatever you drink, whether it be soda or whatever, you know.
I was trying to be a good boy because I didn't want to be hungover going around. I don't really drink a lot anyway.
Well, I don't either. I've been known now to have just a couple drinks and that's it.
I did have about 4 or 5 Shirley Temples one night when we were at the meet and greet. So
I have acquired a fondness for Irish whiskey.
that's not bad. Everything's all right, you know, in moderation.
Oh yeah, and then, like I said, it ain't like when I was 22 years old and pounding shots and just so I could pray to the porcelain god. Now, okay. For example, some people might think this is weird, but I've had 2 men that I love like brothers that's passed away. My brother passed away, and a couple aunts. So when an anniversary of their birth or death comes around, I have a bottle of Irish whiskey. I will fix me a drink. I will toast them, and I will sip. I will have a glass for them to honor them. But, you know, and I'll be the first one to tell y'all, when my brother passed away, if it wasn't for people like Scotty Vaughn and Brian LCS, I probably would have went insane.
Well, that's the one thing. It's not, you know, we're not just a comic book community. We're kind of family at this point. A lot of us. So I was so happy to see some of them. Like when I saw like E-Man and Will or Boggs, and Christina, I got kind of, I didn't cry, but I was like, really, I couldn't hide the excitement.
Yeah.
Especially like in Mark and seeing all those guys at the C3 booth, and then Brian. I saw Brian. You know, everybody, every time you're seeing somebody, you're going, "Hey!"
Yeah, I've seen.
And Cliff, I'll tell you what, Cliff is even more fun in person to be around than he is on stream.
I seen the picture or the video of him picking up Boggs and turning him around and everything, and I went, "Good Lord, if he sees me, he's gonna grab me and chunk me like a lawn dart."
Hey, Dan. Here, we got a good comment here from Kevin.
Yeah. But yeah, like I said, everybody, I plan on returning to the live soon. It's just, I've lost other people, but when you lose somebody, like, you know, and I had to put it in perspective. I have to be, my mom and dad lost a son.
Yeah.
And because I've told people, and I believe it was Cliff. I made a comment. I told everybody, I said, I have to remember not to prioritize myself over my parents because they lost their son. And Cliff went, "Tony, you lost your brother."
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, your brother or your sister, your sibling, is your first best friend you'll ever have in your lifetime.
Yeah.
They know more about you than anybody ever will. And, you know, growing up with them all your life, you know, hugging, fighting, you know, beating somebody up because they picked on your brother, you know, all the good times, all the bad times. I mean, like case in point, that WWF championship belt. When I got that belt, everybody that I could have showed that to that would have went, "Tony, that is freaking awesome," is gone. So I was kind of like, yeah, I got it. But, you know, I think I had 2 people go, you know, around me go, "Wow, Tony, that's awesome." My cousin, I actually took a picture with him holding it last night because he loved it. But
oh, that's the best one. I don't know why they did away with that one. That was the best belt. That and the big gold belt from WCW or NWA.
Yeah.
My 2 favorite.
Yeah. I found a place on YouTube, or I mean, I said YouTube. I found a place on eBay, and they were selling these belts for $100 a piece. They had this one. They had, now, if you know the 90s wrestling, they had Austin's Smoking Skull belt. They had the Attitude Era belt. They had the European title and the Intercontinental title, and the big gold belt. And I went, "Okay, Tony, which one means the most to you?" Okay, this title was, of course, it was, you know, Hulk Hogan had it Flair had it, Bret Hart had it, Shawn Michaels had it, like so, and Undertaker
Macho
had it.
Man. Yep.
Macho Man, they all had that belt, and I was like, that's cool. Like somebody like me that's only an hour from Memphis. I grew up watching Memphis wrestling all my life, watching Lawler. I watched Randy Savage when nobody knew who the hell he was, and I got to see the Road Warriors and Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert, Austin Idol stuff, the Moondogs, Fabulous Ones, Rock and Roll Express.
Superstar Bill Dundee and Dirty Dutch Mantel.
Hell yeah, dude! I love Dutch Mantel. And
I still watch. You ever watch his YouTube thing? He's pretty good at it.
Yeah, whenever he came out with who was that guy? Jack Swagger, and they said Jack Swagger's with Zeb Coulter. I said that is Dutch Mantel. Put some respect on his name.
Yeah, and he'd been kind of an agent behind the scenes, and they let him come back because I guess Swagger's one of the guys that wasn't a big talker. You know what I mean?
No, and I think when he first came out, he spoke with a lisp, and that was weird.
The thing about Memphis wrestling though, I mean, he was unknown, but Macho Man, the reason WWF wanted him is because of his work in Memphis.
Yeah. Dude. If you think about it, just about every wrestler made their path through Memphis, whether it was The Rock. Dude, I remember watching The Undertaker when he was the Master of Pain. I mean, and then what was it? Kane was, or Glenn Jacobs was Isaac Yankem. But it's hard for me to pick my favorite wrestlers because I could do different things.
They're having trouble with the computer over here. Anyway, I guess I'll have to cut it short. I'm going to have to help her with this computer.
Hey, got to go help Mom, man.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'd like to thank my guest, Comiverse, Tony, for coming on and being my guest tonight. And remember, next week will be C Bizzle from Council Comics. I'm looking forward to that one, too. I look forward to always talking to somebody in the community. That's why I do this one-on-one. I always have people. I have some people ask me, "Hey, can I be a guest on there when you're with your guest?" And I'm like, "No, I want to go one-on-one." And tonight we had one-on-one with the great one, quote The Rock. So.
And y'all don't forget to vote for this guy for interviewer.
Yeah, I'm in the 500 or lower this year.
Same here. I'm still under 5.
And don't forget to nominate everybody else in the other categories too. Yeah. And I would appreciate it. It's just an honor to get any kind of nomination.
Same here.
But everybody, be good and remember to keep it in the fairway and all that good stuff. Keep your stick on the ice and watch your top knot. Keep it on the sunny side.
Keep it.
Until next time, true believers. Excelsior.
Come, son of Jarrell! Kneel before Sod! Snoochie boochies.